Hi, I'm Matt Silberth from West Haven, Connecticut. Not only was it probably difficult for us to kind of relate to a generation that's so much older, but I know when I first always asked that question, pretty much everybody interviewed sat back and really had to think, and I was thinking this, not only were we having a different experience, they were probably thinking of things that they've never even thought about before. I'm sure they've never thought about this question. Not many people go around asking, what's the biggest change in your life been? So that was interesting for me. I think it was a learning experience for not only us, but for the people that we interviewed.
Olivia Cintron, Oxford, Connecticut. When we first got the assignment, I thought it was going to be pretty boring. I guess I always kind of just categorized old people as old people. And as the assignment went on, it was really kind of awesome to see the different personalities of the older generation. I guess I always looked at grandma as grandma, and I never really asked the questions to elicit those kind of responses and those kind of personal jokes, and just got to see a different side, I guess, of the older generation afterwards.
Hi, I'm Aaron Johnson from Stratford, Connecticut. Like Liv just said, she's my grandmother, so she always had that kind of title for me. But sitting down and talking to her and seeing how flamboyant and funny she was, she said like, "Oh yeah, I was a tough worker, wasn't I, Aaron?" Like, and she was a really funny woman, and it was nice to see that, because I said she lives in Texas, so I hadn't really had a chance to really grow up with her the way some of my other cousins did.
Amy Kulikowski, Hamden, Connecticut. Well, I think it was more challenging talking to your relatives. For me, at least it was. Like, I interviewed my grandma, and it was just kind of weird because, I don't know, it was harder for me to talk to somebody I knew rather than somebody I didn't know. Like, I interviewed my mom's godmother, who I only met, I think, last year, and she just so happened to, like, be in the area. She's from California. So that week, like, the first week of classes, she was staying in Milford visiting her family here. So and she was 75, so I just kind of went for it and interviewed her. And I was kind of nervous about asking her about being gay. I didn't know if it was something like too touchy, but she was actually really open about it.
Good day. My name is Derek Turles, originally from Clinton, Connecticut, but I claim New Haven now. Well, one of the problems was, they've done so much and they've experienced so much in life, you really had to sift through it to find, what would really make the story. And they were going to be the ones telling you what their biggest change was, but, you had to kind of keep them on track. And, while you're learning about their whole life, you can't write about their entire life. We're not writing novels.
Crystal Gothi, Stamford, Connecticut. Well, I'm actually glad that I did it, because I feel like as a journalist, you need to talk to all sorts of different types of people. And I talk to people of different races on a regular basis anyway, so it wasn't that hard for me to do.
Matt Stumpo, Ansonia, Connecticut. So at first I was just like, I don't even know how I'm going to do this. But it was just kind of funny how everything just started working out, and just how everything was in the plan and how nice the people were. Like, you would think 75, they're like, why do I want to talk to this person? But they were actually really friendly. They were really nice. They didn't push anyone away. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Right. Hi, I'm Anissa Jabril, West Hartford, Connecticut. I think one of the biggest things that I've taken away from this experience is being exposed to so many different mindsets, and some of the mindsets that I don't exactly agree with. I didn't really have an issue interviewing people of the opposite race. I think one of the things that was really different for me was being exposed to such a different mindset than my own.
Taylor Richards, Weathersfield, Connecticut. It was hard I had to go back and talk to her, so I had to work a lot with this story, yeah.
What'd you learn?
I learned that you can't get everything done in one interview. If you want to make a good story, you can't get it done in one interview.
Jared Silberkleit, Orange, Connecticut. Well, I think it was a really good exercise in building rapport and trust with sources, because in my situation, I was interviewing 3 people who, probably haven't been, covered extensively by the news, I might imagine, in their lives, people that I had never met before. They were all strangers to me. And to be able to sit down with them for an extended period of time, the interviews usually lasted like an hour or so, and really get them to open up. I felt like if I could, get that connection with them and get them to open up to me and tell me these stories, that they've, things that they've seen and done throughout their lives, and then I can do that with anybody. So it really was a big confidence builder for me.
Chris Day, Meriden, Connecticut. One of the things I wanted to point out, because we've been talking about just the interviews themselves, but one thing that helped me the most was writing the paper and having two professors look at them instead of one, because on all my papers, both you and Frank found different things and both pointed out different things. And most of the time, only one of you would have it, like different notes than the other. So I had looked through both of them as I was making edits and revisions to the first and the second revision, especially for the first story, because I had, I think, 3 or 4 revisions of that one. So that was something that I just wanted to point out that no one said yet about actually writing it and having two professors look at it instead of compared to just one like usual.
I'm Courtney Silva, and I'm from Seattle, Washington. And then I got the chance to interview Jim Barber here on campus. He's an African-American man, and that was very interesting. I felt like we bonded in a special way because he's an athlete, I'm an athlete, so I felt pretty comfortable interviewing him.
Alasia Varnado, East Hartford, Connecticut. The funniest thing that happened to me when I was doing my interview was when I was looking for someone of a different race, which was my third source. I went to a senior living community in South Windsor, and I had to get the permission of the director in order to ask people if they wanted to be interviewed. So as we were going around the whole facility, we got to this one guy, and she was asking him, would you like to do the interview? And he was like, okay, what's the questions? I told him the questions. And he was like, all right. And then she said, all right, would you guys like to go into the library? And then he was like, no, I have to think about my own safety. I don't want to do the interview anymore.
I'm Dave Ostroff from Trumbull, Connecticut. I had, plenty of people, plenty of sources that just wouldn't say anything, and they almost took offense to me asking them these questions. And you just can't take it personally. You just deal with it, learn from it, and then move on and just keep going. You can't let that get to you. So this class wasn't easy starting out by any means, but you just can't let it get to you. You just have to move on and learn.
She was really open about it. She just started talking, and she was like, I was always at the Apollo Theater, and I knew all the acts, and me and my girlfriends used to go dancing all the time. And I was like, all right, Grandma, cool.
Emily Lano, East Haven, Connecticut. One of the things I'm definitely thankful for that I wouldn't have got the opportunity, I talked to my grandfather a lot, and I'm very close to my grandfather, but I got the opportunity to talk to him about something. When we were growing up, he was always talking about the war, but during one part of the interview, he said that something that he told me he's never told someone before. So, and he was telling me how a lot of the things in the war, he was always very shy when we were growing up, and he was very closed off. So it was really surprising to him to tell me how things shaped him from the war, and how I always saw him how he was, but it was very great to see how he got that way. And I don't think I would have gotten the chance to talk to him about that if I didn't have the interview with him.
Hi, I'm Janae Thomas from Windsor, Connecticut. The weekend right before classes started, my mom called me and told me that my great-grandmother had died. And so we came into the classroom that Tuesday, and I don't remember if it was you or Professor Harris, but someone asked if we had any living great-grandparents. And if you had just waited a week, I could have raised my hand, but I couldn't because she had passed. So it was really disappointing that I couldn't interview her, but at the same time, I got to meet different people, and I grew to appreciate the assignment and appreciate older people.